Hi everyone. 3 hours. That's all it took for the Middle East to change forever. Missiles lit up the night sky. Air defense systems screamed into action. Cities across Israel rushed into bomb shelters. Sighs. For 3 terrifying hours, the world watched as one of the most technologically advanced militaries on Earth faced a wave of fire unlike anything seen before. But the real question isn't what happened during those 3 hours. The real question is, curious, did those 3 hours expose a weakness that could reshape the entire balance of power in the Middle East? Tonight, we break down what really happened, why military analysts are worried, and why investors across the world are suddenly watching gold, oil, and defense stocks. Welcome to Wealth Signals. For decades, Israel has been seen as one of the most secure nations in the world. Despite being surrounded by hostile groups and regional rivals, it built one of the most advanced military defense systems ever created. Systems like Iron Dome, David's Sling, and Arrow formed a layered shield designed to intercept rockets, ballistic missiles, and drones. And for years, this system worked. Rocket attacks from Gaza, missile threats from Lebanon, drone attacks from militias across the region. Most were intercepted before they could reach major population centers. But in recent years, something has changed. Israel's enemies have adapted. Instead of small attacks, they began planning mass saturation strikes, overwhelming the defense systems with sheer numbers. And according to military experts, if enough missiles are launched at the same time, even the best defense system can be overwhelmed. Which brings us to the moment that shocked analysts. The night when 3 hours of fire changed everything. To understand why those 3 hours mattered, we need to understand the growing tension across the region. Israel has been facing threats on multiple fronts. In the south, militant groups in Gaza have repeatedly launched rocket attacks. In the north, Hezbollah in Lebanon has built what many experts believe is the largest non-state missile arsenal in the world. Some estimates suggest Hezbollah possesses over 100,000 rockets and missiles, including precision-guided systems capable of targeting Israeli infrastructure. But the bigger strategic concern comes from a much larger regional rival, Iran. Over the past decade, Iran has invested heavily in building a network of allied militias across the Middle East, from Iraq to Syria to Lebanon to Yemen. This strategy is often called the axis of resistance. The idea is simple. Instead of confronting Israel directly, Iran supports multiple groups that can pressure Israel from different directions at the same time. If a large-scale conflict ever erupted, Israel could theoretically face attacks from several fronts simultaneously. And that's exactly the scenario military planners fear most. Because Israel's defense systems were designed to intercept missiles, but no system can intercept everything if the numbers become overwhelming. It began quietly. Late evening, radar operators detected unusual activity. Drones, then rockets, then more rockets. Within minutes, sirens began sounding across multiple Israeli cities. Residents rushed into shelters as interceptors launched into the sky. The Iron Dome batteries fired rapidly, attempting to intercept incoming rockets. Explosions lit the sky as missiles collided midair. But the numbers kept increasing. Dozens, then hundreds. For nearly 3 hours, the sky above Israel became a battlefield. Interceptors racing upward, incoming rockets streaking downward. Some were destroyed in the air. Others slipped through. And when that happens, even a single missile can cause serious damage. The strategy appeared clear. This wasn't a random attack. It looked like a saturation test. a coordinated attempt to see how Israel's defenses would respond to a massive barrage. Military analysts watching the event noticed something important. The attacks came in waves. First rockets, then drones, then additional missile launches. This pattern is designed to stress defense systems and force them to use interceptors rapidly. Because interceptors are expensive, each Iron Dome interceptor can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, some rockets used by militant groups cost only a few $100s. This creates a dangerous economic imbalance. Over time, defending against cheap rockets can become incredibly costly, and if the volume becomes large enough, even a well-funded military can feel the strain. So what actually happened during those 3 hours? From a purely military perspective, Israel's defenses still performed remarkably well. Most incoming rockets were intercepted. Civil defense systems worked as intended. Sirens alerted civilians. Shelters protected thousands of people. But analysts focused on something else: the scale of the attack. The attack demonstrated that Israel's enemies are capable of launching large coordinated barrages. And in modern warfare, quantity can sometimes defeat quality. Missile defense systems rely on tracking, targeting, and intercepting incoming threats. But each interceptor can only destroy one target. If attackers launch hundreds or thousands of rockets simultaneously, the system must respond with the same number of interceptors. And this leads to 3 critical challenges. First, interceptor supply. Even advanced militaries have limited interceptor inventories. Second, reaction time. Multiple simultaneous launches can overwhelm radar tracking systems. Third, economic pressure. Defense becomes extremely expensive when intercepting large numbers of cheap rockets. These challenges are exactly what military strategists around the world are studying right now, because the lessons from this event apply far beyond Israel. They apply to any country relying on missile defense. The biggest concern for Israel isn't just rocket attacks from one direction. It's the possibility of multi-front conflict. Imagine a scenario where rockets are launched simultaneously from Gaza in the south, Lebanon in the north, militia groups in Syria, and possibly long-range missiles from Iran. That kind of scenario would dramatically increase the number of incoming projectiles. Even the most advanced defense network could be pushed to its limits. And that's why military planners often say that future wars may not be about precision strikes alone. They may be about overwhelming defenses through sheer volume. But Israel also has advantages. Its air force remains one of the most powerful in the region. Its intelligence networks are extensive, and its defense technology continues to evolve. Systems like laser-based missile defense are already being developed to reduce the cost of interception. If successful, these technologies could change the economics of missile defense entirely. Instead of expensive interceptors, lasers could shoot down rockets at a fraction of the cost. But those systems are still being developed. And until they are widely deployed, the threat of mass rocket barrages remains a serious concern. Whenever tensions rise in the Middle East, the entire world pays attention. Why? Because the region plays a critical role in global energy markets and geopolitical stability. During the hours of the attack, international leaders began issuing statements calling for restraint. Diplomats rushed to prevent escalation, because history shows that even small regional conflicts can rapidly grow into larger confrontations. Investors also reacted quickly. Whenever geopolitical risk rises, markets tend to move towards safe haven assets. Gold often rises during times of uncertainty. Oil prices can spike if markets fear supply disruptions. And defense companies sometimes see increased investor interest as governments consider expanding military budgets. This is why geopolitical events like this are closely watched not only by governments, but also by investors around the world, because war risk can ripple through global markets within hours. Let's talk about the economic side. Conflict in the Middle East has historically affected three major markets. First, oil. The region produces a large percentage of the world's energy supply. If tensions threaten shipping routes or production facilities, oil prices can spike rapidly. Second, gold. Gold is often viewed as a store of value during uncertainty. When geopolitical risk increases, investors frequently move money into gold. Third, defense industry. Periods of rising global tension usually lead to increased military spending. Governments begin investing in missile defense systems, drones, surveillance technology, and cyber warfare capabilities. Events like the 3-hour barrage reinforce one major trend. Modern warfare is becoming increasingly technological. Missiles, drones, artificial intelligence targeting systems, cyber warfare. These technologies are changing how conflicts are fought. And they're also creating entire sectors of economic growth centered around defense and security. For investors paying attention to global signals, these trends matter, because geopolitical instability often reshapes markets in ways many people don't expect. What happens next? So where does this go from here? There are several possible scenarios. The first is de-escalation. Diplomatic pressure could reduce tensions and prevent further large-scale attacks. The second scenario is limited escalation, small exchanges of attacks without a full regional war. The third, and most dangerous, scenario is a wider regional conflict, a war involving multiple countries and militia groups across the Middle East. Most analysts believe that no major power actually wants that outcome, because a large regional war could disrupt global trade, energy supplies, and international security. That's why diplomatic channels remain active even during periods of tension. But one thing is clear: the 3 hours of fire revealed something important. Modern conflicts can escalate incredibly quickly, and the next major confrontation in the region could look very different from wars of the past. So, is Israel over? No. Israel remains one of the most powerful and technologically advanced nations in the region. Its military capabilities remain formidable, but those 3 hours did reveal something significant. The nature of warfare is changing. Mass missile barrages, drone swarms, cyber attacks. Future conflicts may be less about traditional armies and more about overwhelming advanced systems with speed and numbers. And that reality is forcing governments around the world to rethink how they defend their nations. For investors, analysts, and policymakers, events like this are not just news stories. They are signals. Signals about where technology, geopolitics, and global markets may be heading next. And those signals matter. If you want deeper analysis on global conflicts, economic trends, and the hidden signals shaping the future, make sure you subscribe to Wealth Signals. Because in a world where geopolitics and markets are increasingly connected, understanding the signals could be more important than ever. And now we want to hear from you. Do you think missile defense systems can keep up with the rising threat of mass rocket attacks? Or are we entering a new era where offense has the advantage? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.